Hello, this is the third series in a four-part segment looking at adolescents and young people and online behaviour. And we're going to have a brief chat today about social networking. As you would know, social networking allows kids and young people to not only stay in touch and get immediate updates from their friends, but to make new friends and develop their social networks. For many well-adjusted adolescents, this brings them joy and connection, but for some, it's distracting and it leads to drama and upset. We do know that social networking is highly addictive and very distracting by design. And much like poker machines, social network sites such as Facebook have been designed to deliver regular dopamine hits via notifications and constant feed updates, making them a really tempting space to enter and often a confusing space for young people. When your adolescents' grades slip, their school motivation changes, their ability to build in-person relationships and communication skills suffer, we might consider that their online use is impacting, but it's just one thing to consider. Some signs that your teen might be overly involved in the online communication might be it might include a narrowing of their scope of interests and the activities that they enjoy spending time in. We know that young people just need lots of in-person social time, whether that's with their friends and their family, and they need this in order to be able to develop into healthy, well-balanced adults. And for us parents, we need to support them to value in-person communication more highly than their cyber communication. For some young people, social networking does create havoc and can result in some pretty significant lapses in judgment. And this sort of audacious behaviour, I suppose, occurs due to their vulnerable stage of an identity formation. Young people aren't yet sure of who they are or what they value. So thus they explore being powerful or overly sexual or edgy or sophisticated or even aggressive. As communication's not usually face-to-face, young people often feel that they can say anything, and resultantly some teens very naively post pictures or comment about others or engage in some pretty yucky behaviour, which just reflects their underdeveloped judgment. When someone does post an unkind comment, others often join in and it just becomes this inflamed and increasingly damaging situation, which can be quite harassing. And our teens are often oblivious to the fact that they're actually engaged in online harassment. Have you noticed that adolescents regularly fail to notice or to remember the unfair or mean things they say? Transfer this behaviour into the world of social media and their level of ignorance as to what they're saying and how it affects others tends to increase tenfold. Their posts not only reflect on them but also impact on others, an impact which is immediate and which can turn into a massive social trauma in seconds. The result of poor online communication can have really long-term consequences for adolescents, even going so far as to affect their future employment. Unsurprisingly, employers use this information that they find on social networking sites to make hiring decisions these days. And after all, this is where our teens' personal weaknesses usually show up. So why wouldn't an employer use social media as a point of reference? It's scary, but these are the pitfalls of social media, and they're excellent points of conversation that you can bring up with your young person at a receptive moment, always with curiosity and care. Ask them if they've considered these problems and how they plan to avoid getting into sticky situations. So here are some ways that you can maximise your teenagers' social networking safety. Educate them about online safety. When teens overfriend, friending too many people on Facebook, especially people they don't know is in real life, or on Instagram. Overshare and overconnect. They become dangerously visible and can fall prey to bullies and predators. Introduce online values. Say only giving someone or only inviting somebody into your online life that you would want at your dinner table. That's been a big one with my daughters. I often say, just include people you would want at our dinner table. Support your adolescent to see if that over-friending leads to trusting people that they hardly know or don't know at all. And this is senseless and often quite dangerous. Help your young person to make good decisions about what to share online. Adolescents commonly post very personal information that predators and bullies can access. So, for example, they might post information about an up-and-coming trip to Europe, or a picture of themselves outside their house with the house number or the street name clearly visible. Or they might check in at a cafe or restaurant. This stuff really worries me. Support your teenager to think critically about their social networking safety and to consider the importance of not over-connecting. Teenagers who communicate on multiple sites often use the same username, calling greater attention to themselves. Healthy, kind attention from friends who your teen actually knows can be really fun and enjoyable, but negative feedback from supposed friends or attention from strangers can be really quite devastating for our young people. I still believe installing filtering and monitoring software on computers can be wise, but have those really open conversations with young people and prevent or limit your teens' privacy while they're using the internet, particularly when they're younger. As they get older, I want to give them more privacy. This is particularly the case by just keeping all devices in a central location of the house when we have a tween-age child. Again, as they're in adolescence, I give them a lot more freedom with this. But don't be afraid to restrict unrestrained social networking activities because for some kids they need it. If you suspect your adolescent to have underdeveloped judgment and they're using social networking inappropriately, respond carefully, but do apply logical consequences, such as suspending social networking accounts for a period of time. Stay involved in their online life. Remind them when they're cooperative and sensible and knowledgeable and safe that they can get more freedom. Pre-teens and teenagers use social media to have fun, to make and maintain friendships, to share and to learn, to explore their identities and develop relationships within family. It's an extension of their offline and face-to-face interactions. For older teenagers especially, it's often a key part of how they connect with their friends. For this reason, being informed about ways to keep your youngsters safe with their social networking is so important.